Okay, so GIFs are another internet phenomenon that not a lot of people know about. And although there were loads of readings this week, the most interesting thing I learned, that they're not even pronounced GIFs. Steve Wilhite, who created them in 1987, has recently said that they're pronounced GIF. But I think that's ridiculous, because if they were pronounced GIF, then why didn't we just spell them with a J from the beginning? But I digress. Daniel Rubenstein, one of many men with great names in this week's reading list, he says that GIFs have two stages, and they're currently in the second stage, where the first was the breakthrough stage, as in they were a brand new thing and everyone loved them because of that, and the second one is the nostalgia stage, so everyone remembers it and they bring it back for that kind of feeling. But I think that the majority of people making GIFs now are people my age who don't remember 1987 when they did their first rounds, so I don't really see where he's getting this idea from. He also describes the GIF as like a neon light of the silent internet, which I understand where he's coming from. It was something brand new, the internet was still before, we only had images and words, and GIFs kind of break that up. But I don't really understand his analogy because the internet was still silent. And another thing, in 1986 I thought everyone struggled to load a web page with just text and one image on it, let alone something that would never stop repeating. But he also says that the fact that they repeat and the rhythm of them makes them more comical, which makes it seem as though they have no other purpose now, which Alex Williams doesn't agree with because he says that they're being used in art galleries all over the world, meaning that they're more than just something to laugh at on the internet. He also says that GIFs are often made of events and things that you see on TV 5 minutes ago, and they have this kind of instantaneous circulation all over the internet, which in a way shows that GIFs can be used for good reasons. It teaches people about things that they may not have seen. For example, something on the news that people weren't paying attention to. When it comes up on their Twitter feed or on Tumblr, they're going to see and they may take an interest in the events that are happening around the world. But he also says that they've become a lot easier to create, which makes you ask the question, are they going to start decreasing in quality, or have they done so already? Which I think is the case in many instances. You see a lot of dogs and babies falling over repeated again and again and again, all over Twitter. But in some cases they are used in an artful way and ways to get messages across to people. Williams also sees GIFs as a kind of communication, which you do see a lot because many pages on Tumblr are full of reaction GIFs, which you can pick and choose to put in your own circumstance. And it's a much easier way to put across emotion than just words on a page, which often have no emotion and can cause a lot of confusion on the internet because of that, whereas GIFs are a clear show of what you're feeling right now. The problem that I found with Chris Baraniuk? I have no idea how to pronounce his name. That is one problem of him. Chris really only discusses the history of the GIF and name choices and the etymology of the words that they use to choose the name, rather than why GIFs work as a thing, which he only really talks about at the end in 1 or 2 paragraphs. He ends by saying that GIFs have moved on to Vines and maybe GIFs are about to die out while Vines take the spotlight. But he doesn't really say why at the moment both are still popular, and it looks like they're both going to stay popular for a while. Because in effect they are two different things, and people can appreciate both without wanting to get rid of another. And the last reading, Chadwick Matlin, he kind of had a really long article, but all it said that GIFs have become marketable and lots of businesses are using them now to sell products or to explain how things work, which could have been said in about a paragraph or maybe even a couple of sentences. But yeah, that's pretty much it about GIFs. They have rhythm, they're repetitive, they're a way of communication, and businesses have started using them to sell products as well as for educational purposes, with news and events and just explaining how things work. And they've also kind of developed into something else. But I'm interested to know what you think. Do you think that GIFs are going to die out while Vines get more and more popular? Or do you think that they're both going to exist together and both be just as popular as one another? Let me know down below, and I'll see you next week when I'll be talking about glitch art. Bye!